We're out here javelina hunting. We're sitting here glassing for deer way out there, and a group of javelina came right underneath us here at about 120 yards. We're out here javelina hunting. Both Dale and I have tags for this trip. They're archery tags. Last year when Randy shot his, and then Marcus and Kara came and shot 2 in 2017. It's been kind of a glassing game until you find them, and then you kind of just go at them, get the wind right, and you can kind of play the game of like, don't move when they see you, and I guess they don't really care that much. That's what I've been told, at least. But it's a beautiful day here in January. It's probably like high 60s right now, and I can't think of a thing I'd rather be doing than hunting javelina here in Arizona.
Hunting javelina here in Arizona is a big sport. There's lots of opportunity. There's obviously lots of areas across Arizona to hunt them. Well, there's several ways you can hunt them. One, you can put in for the draw, and then in the fall there's actually a youth-only hunt. And then lots of times we have leftover tags for the spring draw, and so you can even get them over the counter. You can buy an over-the-counter archery tag for January, and then there's an archery season in January. There's a rifle season, typically starting February, and then hunting is usually done by the end of February for javelina for the year. They're one of my favorite animals to hunt just because they do require a lot of glassing. You can sit up on a knoll or a hill overlooking habitats that look plausible, and you can find them. I found them in grassy areas. I've found them in thick desert scrub, lots of ocotillo, and if you're hunting them up on the rim, you can even find them in juniper and ponderosa pine. But I like to sit up on a hill, looking out, preferably on a south-facing slope. So if you're glassing from a hillside and you can look at south-facing slopes, you'll often see things that look like moving rocks, and those are typically javelina.
Holy crap. There's a bunch out there, some big ones. Well, we found some javelina. We just crested this ridge and like right away looked out there and saw a bunch of black dots that were moving. Our wind's kind of funky. It's kind of blowing that direction, but we're just gonna make a slight little like crescent moon hook over there.
The nice thing about them is that they don't have super keen eyesight. They're somewhat nearsighted, and so they do have a really good sense of smell and a really keen sense of hearing. So you have to always, be cognizant of the wind and the noise you make, but you can get in pretty close, and you can sit and watch them for quite a while before they'd even know you're there. Each animal ranges anywhere from, let's say, 30 to 50 pounds on average, so they're not going to be a massive animal to harvest, but they do give you probably 10 to 15 pounds of meat.
He's dead right there.
Sometimes you'll see just one animal by itself, but if you watch that animal long enough, it'll often lead you back to the main herd because they are in family groups. And in small herds, typically maybe 5 to 10 animals on average.
You got him. Smoke City. Yeah, he's dead right there. Double.
We just had to do it differently, right?
Oh man, way to go. Good shot. That was a nice shot.
So javelinas are not true pigs. Lots of people call them pigs, but they're actually collared peccaries, and they get that name because they have a line of white hair that kind of comes down off the front shoulders and around into the chest. They are tropical in origin. They originated in South America, and over time those species have just moved north. And so what they do is at night, and when it gets cold, they pile up. We call it a pig pile. They pile up in a big pile of animals, and the animals on the outside, when they get cold, start to push their way to the inside of the pile, and so the animals just rotate all night long doing a big pig pile. In the first morning light, when the sun hits those southern slopes, then the javelina come out and like to sun as they feed.
We're sitting here glassing for deer way out there, and a group of javelina came right underneath us here at about 120 yards. And I do have a javelina tag. That looked rather lethal. Lay down.
Look at that. That's a red arrow. Little morning excitement. Just how Deer Nut Jim said it would happen.
Definitely an adult, definitely over 2. Put that probably in like the 3 to 4 range. We have age categories of 2 to 3 years old or 4 to 6. And that looks like it's kind of in between, like a 3 to 4.
Well, folks, a deer hunt interrupted by a javelina. This is why you come to Arizona with one of each in your pocket when you're archery hunting.
You have to be very careful in the way you handle them because they do have a big scent gland that sits kind of right on the back of the rump, the top of their back. And they use that actually to help identify each other and to mark territories. The nice thing about a javelina is they're kind of pack-sized. So you can string them up in a tree, skin the animal, debone the animal, flesh it out, and take everything you want with you in a pack. And so it's not a multiple pack trip like an elk or even some of the bigger deer would be.
All right, so Hank Shaw just showed up at camp, and I was originally planning on doing something with javelina, but since he's here, he's got many books on cooking wild game. He's a very good wild game cooking chef. I'm just gonna hand it off to him. There's no reason for me to cook when we have him here. So, without further ado, Hank Shaw, take over.
So this is the javelina that Michael shot. It's basically our desert pigs in Arizona. They're loosely related to regular pigs, way back down on the family tree, but they're the closest native pig-like thing that we have in North America. So these are the shoulders, and I'm gonna braise these shoulders slow and low, and then we're gonna pull the meat off the bone, and I'm gonna make kind of a tropical stew with them. So we're gonna follow the process, but first we've got to braise the meat and get it tender. Of dried chili. So that is gonna sit in the oven for like 4 hours, and I'll check on it from time to time, and I just want it to be tender enough to get off the bone. It doesn't have to be like super tender because we're gonna stew it a little bit later.
All right, all you people who say that javelina is not edible.
Oh, you gotta go tonight?
I'm about ready to prove otherwise. If you listen to other people's thoughts of javelina, you'd be hard pressed to believe this is javelina.
So have I mentioned how much I like this?
So with that, if you've ever thought about hunting javelina, I'd encourage you to come down to Arizona. It's a great spot to do it. This is January. It's about 60 degrees, and you know, you can get an over-the-counter archery tag. February is sometimes a little cooler, but February is usually pretty nice as well to hunt javelina. So we've got great weather. Makes it easy to camp, makes it easy to be out in the woods all day hiking and glassing. And so I just encourage you to come down and enjoy the weather and find some javelina. There's lots of opportunity here, lots of seasons, and lots of land to cover, public land open to hunting and access.
So there you have it, guys. A couple days of javelina hunting. Dale, Randy, and I were all able to harvest javelina down here in Arizona. If you're down here building points for deer and elk or antelope, if you're coming down coos deer hunting in January, be sure to pick up one of these javelina tags. They're a ton of fun. There's really no reason why you shouldn't. They're fairly cheap, and your draw odds are super high. A lot of times there's leftovers. And as you can see, they're not really that difficult to hunt. So if you're out glassing for coos deer and you see one of these things, it's pretty much just to get the wind right and make your move in on them. And they're actually really good table fare, as you guys saw in the video. So thanks for watching, and be sure to check out our next video about opportunity hunting here in Arizona.